Hello, everyone. I'm back, incredibly late and behind, but I thought I would entertain the topic of making friends and I guess exploring, if that's a word. I guess a more precise terminology would be being adventurous and exercising, growing, flexing, working out that muscle. And I think that leads to great results in terms of life happiness. Um, and I wanted to remind myself of that as this past few weeks I've been more or less dealing with anxiety, or I guess social withdrawing. Like I've actively said no to certain things, and I don't feel particularly different, but I just notice this behavior in myself, and it makes me question, how I'm doing mentally. When I'm neglecting or rejecting social events that I would otherwise be really excited about, and I choose not to go to them. For other, I can't really tell the reasons because it's really hard to determine, and I rationalize everything. But yeah, I'm on the journey of shaking up my life. I grew up very, I frame it as conservative and sheltered, and I'm on the journey to exploring the world and flexing the muscle of adventurousness. So, like, I don't mean too much crazy, but like, I'm, I view myself moving more towards normality, being more okay with change and chaos than I was before, but I think I'm not like overdoing it. If anything, I'm going more towards the average. Like, there's certain things that. So I don't like large crowds. That's common. I don't like driving when driving is difficult. Like I actively make decision making to avoid that because driving is like stressful. I don't have any particular problem, and especially while I'm driving, it's not problematic. But more like the mental block before I'm driving. Like once I am in the car and I'm driving, it's all fine. But before it, there's like this mental barrier, and then once I pass that threshold and I'm driving, then it's okay. But I'll actively like think about where do I want to go? Do I actually want to go there? If the traffic is like on Google Maps, it's red, then like I'm not gonna go on my trip. Even though it's honestly not that bad sitting in the car for like 20 more minutes. It's boring. It's a waste of gas, but it's not problematic, and I'm always happy. But it's hard getting myself to do the first step. This sidetrack. This isn't what I want to talk about. I wanted to talk about for people who have trouble making friends. They're yeah. Let's talk about friendship. Friendship. I won't go particularly deep. There's a lot of ways we can go about this, but I'll just say the first step to making friends, the most common advice is, as an adult, to have prolonged exposure and just repetitively expose yourself to people and be in social situations, and you will end up making friends if you're intentional about it. If you're always closed off and don't want to talk to people, then it won't work. But if you're moderately trying and moderately, if you don't have any severe problems, let's put it that way, in terms of socially, then just putting yourself in front of people is the best way. And how do you do that? So the common examples are like clubs, sports, hobbies, and integrating in that community and actually being involved, not just going and talking to no one, but like repeatedly going in, and then you're a regular, and then they get to know your name, and then perhaps you get to know them on a deeper level past this hobby. Maybe they invite you to something, maybe you share interests, maybe you invite them to something. And so that works. Clubs, volunteering, sports, what these have in common with basically like school is just you're there for a purpose, and the tangential benefit is relating to one another, empathizing, getting friendship, being social. But the primary focus is elsewhere. So that basically makes it so there's less pressure and you just chill. Don't be weird, don't be creepy, don't be awkward, but don't also be sterile. Um, Attend, focus on the thing, like be genuine, and then also be genuine when you're getting to know them, and it will work well. Now, what to do when these aren't, when maybe even these are too hard? I think where I'm at, one way of framing it is basically increasing your adventurous muscle. What I mean for that is basically have more experiences. So basically, you'll never meet people or be in a social situation except for online. But if you're just in your home all day, or if you keep doing the same thing, it's a closed system. No one else is going to come in. You need to explore and see the world. So I think if you're really on step 0 and you don't want to join a club or thing or something and it's too hard, I think there's two ways. There's two different things. One, be okay with spending money. So, financially, not just willy-nilly, but also intentionally on diverse experiences, and be intentional and conscious during them. So diverse experiences and consciousness. So you want to experience things. Literally everything is an experience. So I'm talking about doing an event like go-karting or rock climbing, but I'm also talking about going to a new restaurant. I'm talking about, walking around outside, walking down a different street. And you want diversity. You don't need to be 100% diverse every time, but what you don't want is, doing the same thing over and over and over. It's like, say there's 26 letters in the alphabet, and you just keep rehearsing A. Yeah, A really well, but you don't ever know these. And it depends what you're going for, but it might be worth it. Instead of practicing A 26 times, maybe you practice all the letters once. Or maybe even just the first half letters twice. That's still pretty significant. So the idea, the intentionality of spending money is to not be frugal. At least for me, that was what was holding me back. There's this thought of, is it worth it? No, I don't really care. And I don't really care. But I've made the decision to intentionally spend money on new experiences, on diverse experiences. There's this phrase in improv, like always say yes, because it leads to more fun, more excitement, more life. And that's definitely true. Spending money. And also the second thing is just going outside, like literally going outside every single day, whether it's a walk around the yard or it's like going to a coffee shop. You literally don't even have to come with a friend. Being okay with doing it solo. And it's not an inherently social experience. Like you get your coffee and you sit down and just spend time at the shop. It's a new experience. You tried a new place. You went outside. What this does is, you're out of your house. There's potential there. It might not be manifested. You might not make a new friend. You won't connect all the dots, certainly, unless you're really social. But there's something positive about going into the world, intentionally leaving your place of security, going into the wild, getting dressed, getting presentable, having a small social interaction with the cashier, ordering, it might be awkward, might not be. Sit down. You're amongst people. You're amongst living people. You're living a social life. Even if it's implicitly social, you're not directly with your friend. You're not with a group. You're not talking to anyone, but you're around people. That's like you're social in some form. Once you get good at these two things, once you get good at flexing the muscle to do new things, flexing the muscle to be outside, always being dressed, always being ready, always being social in like a mood, right? It takes a certain mood, even if you're not doing anything, to be in public, to like I am not as relaxed as I am in a coffee shop. even if I'm doing my own thing, no one's talking to me. I just have a table by myself, as I am relaxed. At my home. So getting more used to using this muscle and decreasing my comfortable home muscle and increasing my public perception. I have to put on, be presentable. You have to put on a show, put on a face. That's seen as negatively because it's like fake or dishonest, but it's actually more professional, a more presentable side of you. And then diversity, having a lot of experiences, investing in that, spending money on that. What this leads to is confidence. Once you have experience is confidence. you know if you do something enough times, I really don't believe there's like inherent talent. I mean, most things aren't super complex, and so I think average people can learn, be some have some level of skill if you repeatedly do a hobby. Whether it's tennis, swimming, engineering, programming, languages. You could get better. I think you won't hit a wall for a while. You could become a regular, and that experience is valuable. People, you could share that experience. You could introduce people to that experience. You could teach people. You could help people. And when you have experience, you have leverage, you have power, you are more attractive. There's a value dynamic there, and it's just good. It's fun. And if you have a bunch of experiences, you have a bunch of things to share, you're a good person to hang out with, people will want to learn from you and enjoy, if you share these experiences with people. I think that's a good thing. First step, just get out of the house. Second step, try to shake things up in your life. Hopefully that's helpful. It's a reminder to myself, and thanks everyone.